Luke Taylor, mate, welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on the Mindful Men Project. The chat, mate. How are you?
My pleasure, mate. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really well. I'm really well. Thank you. It's a beautiful day here, and I get to chat with the likes of you. So thank you for this opportunity.
I was totally just drawn to you, man, with your authenticity in being a coach, being a dad, and actually being a traveler as well. And like your travel stuff just sucked me in as well. Watching you and the fam chuff around and making memories while also making a change in the space of dads, man. So tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, first off, the traveling part is kind of new. We've only sort of been venturing around traveling now just since the start of the year. We actually packed up and left on Christmas Eve last year.
Right.
Prior to that, though, the whole journey began for me into coaching through struggles of my own more than anything, mate. I held my hand up and asked for help. I was struggling in many areas. I had two little boys. I still have two little boys, but they're not so little anymore.
Yeah.
And yeah, I kind of, with my background, to cut a long story short, I'm a tradesman, brickie, stepped up into project management and building, started running 3 or 4 projects at a time with different crews. And that took a lot of my energy, a lot of my focus. And I pretty much went head. Yeah, I just had to put everything into that to grow the business, to try and ensure that I had food on the table for the family and bills to pay, not just for myself though, but for the guys that I had employed as well. Like their families were my responsibility too. And maybe I took a little bit too much of that on because I started to go down a really negative mindset space with my own personal family. Caused a lot of disruption, a lot of heartache, and eventually it just became too much and something had to change. And that something was me. I let the business go. I started just laying bricks again. So there was no stress, essentially. I could just turn up and earn a wage. But at the same time, I was seeing counselors, I was seeing coaches, I was trying to make that shift. I'm not sure how much coaching you've been through yourself, but a lot of it is like internal work, like how you can better yourself, how are you putting strategies and things like that in place. And those little things for me just shifted. And over the next couple of years, I started wanting more out of different areas of my life. And I started to achieve the goals that I set myself out. And then in 2021, I officially started Becoming Men. I stepped into the coaching role myself. I guess I chose dads. I don't know if that's the right way of saying it, because they chose me more because I could just connect with them. I find tradie dads I can connect with straight away because I've had the same issues with them. I understand their mindset, and not just that, but I know how their life works. You know, they're up at the crack of dawn, they're on site, they're busting their guts out. Yeah, I've been there. So I've been doing that now for 18 months, maybe just over. And I absolutely love it. It's given me an opportunity to give back all the training that I had and all the lessons that I've learned. But I've been able to implement it in a way for my clients that have worked for me. So tradies with the toolbox talks we spoke about recently, and the time management stuff, using like the project management skills, but in a way that we can implement them into our own lives. And I found that really beneficial, and it's great. I just get to chat and talk, connect, share stories. And the best part is when you see your clients improve and they give you the buzz at 9 a.m. I've done it. I'm so happy. Thank you. It's just an amazing feeling.
That's so true, right? Rather than just that rote learning of here are the strategies that I've learned, verbal diarrhea, like pushing it on them, sort of getting on the client's map and seeing things through their lens and trying to understand how they'll learn and the strategies that are applicable and realistic to their life and their work and their stresses and their commitments and priorities. So that's a wicked way to get results. Let's talk dad life. What have you found as one of the biggest struggles personally as being a dad?
When you step in from 1 to 2, that was a big shock for me. I think I was comfortable with 1 and, I was managing okay, but then 2 is a different ball game. It's like a whole new level. And I feel for people that go 3, 4 and 5. I really do. But my biggest struggle, I don't know, man, that's quite a hard one. I guess being true to me and remaining Luke, at the same time,
Yeah.
because I was me with my partner, and then we had kids. That doesn't mean our life should change and we should become different people, you know, because we have kids to bring them into our life. But for me, I kind of forgot that, and I went down the path of parent, provide,
Mm.
provide. And that's by no means a bad thing. And I don't judge myself for that at all, because I felt like I was doing the right thing. You know, my parents did the same thing for me, but I lost track of myself in a way. My mental health would deteriorated a little bit. But I didn't really care, because I felt that I was doing everything right for the kids. So I guess the biggest struggle for me has been maintaining myself at the same time, so I can be the best version of myself for the kids.
I call it, with coaching, like putting different hat on. So, you know, right now I'm in chill hat, dad hat, coach hat, you know, learning hat, chatting right now. But when I go out that door, I'll be in dad hat. So put the dad hat on, play with my daughter when she wakes up, hopefully not too soon. You know, then, you know, when I'm in the gym with clients, it's put on the PT hat. Or when I'm with mates, it's put on your friend. So it's trying not to have too many hats on at the one time. And, you know, that I think comes down to, you know, something both of us are pretty passionate about, which is that mindfulness of just trying to be in the moment.
What have you found has really helped you do that more than anything?
Mate, mindfulness practice and meditation, like daily mindfulness meditation, setting an intention for the day as well. So I have this this thing every time I wake up in the morning. I meditate, and then I drive to work, and I talk to myself for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Whilst driving, yeah.
Yeah, and it's almost, I never listen to the radio. I'm always trying to be mindful, but driving to work, I've got about 10 to 15 minutes where I sort of go through something I'm grateful for in that moment or for the past day, and then I set an intention for the day. So whether that's be productive, whether that's chill, whether that's do less. Yeah, that might sound so counterintuitive, but sometimes it's like,
sometimes you need to.
I've got 15 things on my to-do list, and 10 of them don't need to be done for a month, but I have this sort of, I've got to get it done. I've got to be productive. I've got to achieve, you know? So, you know, sometimes
take the pressure off sometimes, right? Yeah. You get better outcomes. You get a better product for what you're actually doing for those little bits. 100%.
Totally. Yeah. So I find that the practice of mindfulness and meditation ongoing, you know, the formal practice on the cushion, as you like, has the benefits there. But, you know, I've been meditating daily for about 5 years, and I've found that it flows into the off the cushion stuff. So, you know, the life, the general life, the being a dad, the being more patient, the being more mindful, the being more present, the being able to connect and show empathy and compassion for clients when they're struggling. So I've found that practice has flown into just everyday life as a man, a dad, a husband, a father, a friend, a coach. So that has definitely helped. And my morning chat to myself is a really good, it's almost like a brain dump. It's almost like a verbal journal, right? Of setting my day up.
Yeah, I was thinking that when you were saying it, it sounds more like a journal, you know, but you're just actually saying your words.
Yeah. And it's so simple. And some of the stuff I talk about is so random, but it just sort of, it settles me before I, you know, step into the day where I interact with other people. I've got a bit of a mental plan. I've almost mentally rehearsed the day. And
it makes sense to you, right? And ultimately, that's all that matters. There's many things I love about being a dad. It's changed me for the better. I wouldn't go back by no means. And I love who I am now, and improved my relationship with my father as well, because I kind of respected him a bit more for what he did and what he sacrificed for me when I was little. You don't realize it as a kid.
Yes.
You kind of just grow up.
So
and
true,
do it.
Man. Yeah.
And that brought me and my dad closer. And I guess I have to thank my kids for that as well.
Yes. Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. Yeah. That respect that you didn't realize, you know, what we give up and what we do and the lengths we go to be the best version of ourselves for our kids and provide, and the things that we do to try and model and help them and give them the tools. So another reason we're here, and another big part of what we both do, is around mental health and men's mental health. What are some of the mental health struggles that dads, in your experience, are, you know, going through?
I guess with most of the guys I work with, the key issues are always around a little bit of anxiety about being present with their family when they get home from work because they're exhausted. So they want help around just switching states and being able to be a better version when they walk in the front door. a lot of the guys are always, I just don't have time to work on myself. Why should I work on myself? I should put my family first, So I do quite a bit of like time management with them as well, and like tracking their time. A lot of the times it's disconnection from their family as well, because they feel that a lot of the time they're dealing with stuff themselves and they don't want to show the weakness and go home and go, hey love, I'm struggling, I can't do this right now. Or I guess it comes down to communication. They don't have that openness with their partner to show vulnerability, and just managing their time to get the best out of the things they do have already. Yourself, with your mindfulness stuff that you do, it's all about not worrying about what you don't have. It's enjoying what you do have and being grateful for that. And that's an art in itself, trying to train that in your mind. So when you do get home, you're more positive in that aspect and you've got that appreciation. Eventually, once it goes down, though, we're all mush on the inside, right? And we all want to be loved and we all want to feel connected. And I think the sooner we do that, the quicker we can strive forwards, not only for ourselves, but for our families as well.
You often want to drop everything and do everything for the family. And you see, and I've seen this in clients a lot, that the health and the mental health and the physical health of the dad or the mum starts to deteriorate because they think they're being selfless by putting, everything for the kids, everything for the family. But then, they're giving themselves and their family a B-rated version of themselves. And I call it with clients, my success formula. So whatever those behaviors are that you're engaging in, when you're just on point, when you just have that energy, when you're able to give and you're feeling great. So for me personally, some of the elements of my success formula are daily meditation, getting outside, exercise, eating well, playing like a kid, that childlike sort of ways coming out, and learning and self-development. So, if those things are present, I feel like, I'm moving along nicely and I feel balanced. And often with clients, when I'm working with clients, if they're out of kilter, we go, hey, pull out your success formula and let's see how many you're doing right now. And they'll be like, oh shit, like I have 6 elements and I'm doing 2. So often when they're feeling flat, they're like, oh shit, I forgot, because things are just disjointed for whatever reason, and they're lacking in some of those areas that they so highly value in their success formula. So I think making sure you invest that time, energy, money, space in yourself as well is so important as a dad and a man. And because a lot of us, as we've discussed, it's that pressure on your shoulders to give, to work harder and harder and harder and earn more and do this. That's, for some reason, a lot of us, the men that I've worked with, it seems to be what they think is being a successful dad. It's providing and it's got a dollar figure. You're teaching this stuff, you're preaching this stuff, you're making an amazing impact in people's lives, but then you're a man and a dad as well. So from the strategies you've learned, what do you find are the most helpful strategies for you personally?
Like, my morning routine is key for me. I get up before anyone, so I give myself that time so I can prep, be ready. I journal every day. Like you mentioned your success formula. Like, I have like my daily goals, weekly goals, and I have 2 journals, one for night, one for the morning. And I found writing has really been beneficial for me because I'm my biggest critic. I hate letting myself down. So if I've written something the night before, like I give myself a daily planner. So I want to get this done, and this done tomorrow. And I want to be in this level for them. At the end of the day, when I go back and I start writing, if I haven't done those things, I'm like, right, why didn't I do it? And I look at ways for that. So it's very much tracking for me. Yes, there is my mindset tracking in that as well, with meditation and breath work. And I love how you said getting outdoors. I'm very much a person that will just walk around outside if I need to with headphones on. I enjoy running. That helps me if I'm in a bad state, burning off some energy, listening to some music, depending on the mood that I'm in, is the music I listen to. I like to say I give myself time in the morning. So I do my gratitude. Like you said, you have your verbal journal. I'll write 3 things I'm grateful for every day. If I'm honest, 9 times out of 10, one of them is the same thing as the day before as well.
Yeah.
I do inspirational stuff. So I try and do something, whether I'm reading a book, I'll do a couple of chapters just to get my personal growth going, something to inspire me for the day. Or if I need to get out because I feel trapped or I feel like I need the air, I'll listen to a podcast, or I'll listen to a motivational thing online and go out and run. So that gives me that inspiration. And then meditation. I don't meditate daily, but I would say I meditate 5 days out of the 7. But the days that I don't meditate, I do anywhere between 15 minutes to 30 minutes of breath work, different practices. And they're all just about, essentially, it's just being still with yourself, right? And then exercise. I just try and run, walk, get out, get some air. I do work out, but I don't go to a gym. I have my own setup. It's actually in the back of the bus. We've got kettlebells, yoga mats. Yeah, we've got Mother Nature. That's right. And to be honest, a lot of the stuff that I do, I try and get done in the morning before the family's awake. So then I can switch on. Everyone's awake. I'm done for me. I'm ready. I've got the hat on now. I'll do the homeschooling, and then we'll just go through the day. And then at the night, like I said, I mentioned already, I do like a daily planner for the next day, and I review what I've done for that day. So it is a bit of a circle, and it is a lot. But once you get into the habit of it, it really does keep you tracking forwards, and you pick up where you're dropping. Like, you know how you mentioned already, you pull out your formula and go, right, what am I not doing? Yeah, I know straight away I didn't get to that today, so I'll make sure I do it tomorrow.
Prioritize it the next day. Yeah.
But I find gratitude, meditation, stillness, and accountability from myself, they're probably the key things for me, and things I try to get my clients to be sure to do.
You know, us as men, and you mentioned this previously, often there's that macho side or that lack of willingness to show vulnerability and seek help. You don't need to be at rock bottom or to be, you know, chronic anxiety or chronic depression to seek help to elevate your mental well-being, right? So often when I talk to clients about mental health or, you know, meditation or mindfulness or breath work or whatever, they're sort of, some of the feedback I've had is, oh, I'm not depressed. Like, I don't suffer from chronic anxiety. But it's often, I've found, you know, people that have had a taste of that life and you know, mental health to a degree that start to implement these things. It almost isn't only a strategy for the eye of the storm, but it can be a tool to lessen the impacts of storms when they do come. You don't need to be in that space to go, you know what, I'm going to work on, you know, breath work or mindfulness to be able to deal with the boss when I'm under the pump, or, you know, to be a better, more present dad, or to be able to, you know, enjoy my holiday more that I'm going away with, rather than my mind thinking about the 15 emails I need to send. So how have you found that? The clients that you're working with, are they often, you know, in a stage of, I need help, or are they in a stage of, I just want to elevate myself as a man and as a father?
Bit of both, really, mate. I find, honestly, the guys in the latter who are really struggling, who are in that negative mindset, struggling with anxiety, they tend to be the guys that reach out and implement the strategies that we talk about, and they're the ones that do join up with the programs. Whereas I find the guys who are just like, oh no, I'm okay, I'm not depressed, but I can kind of get it. They don't want to invest in themselves because they don't feel that they need it. But you're absolutely right. You don't need to be in a bad state to be able to improve yourself. Unfortunately, though, it does take something major to impact us to make that change. And I tell them what I do, and they're like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. Actually, I might try that breathwork thing. What's that about? A week later, they'll be like, dude, I had this whole like feeling come over me and I didn't know how to explain it. What is that? And then you start a conversation. You're like, now, when you finish that, go and exercise and listen to a motivational thing. You'll find yourself lift your state. And then a week later, they'll be like, oh, I've started doing that as well. Well, how can I get more of it? And then you start teaching them about meditation and stuff. And they're like, wow, the growth is fantastic. I want to continue it. And
the body will whisper before it screams. So, you know, you'll have a little niggle in your body and that's the whisper, but then you don't tend to it. And then next minute you've torn something. Or, you know, there's a little whisper that, you know, your doctor says, look, you've got high blood pressure and, you know, you need to be shifting a bit of weight, and the client doesn't do anything. And then they're like, okay, you're a type 2 diabetic. And then the body's screaming, oh, shit, now I'll do something about it. So I found a similar overlap into the mental health side of things. People might be,
Yeah,
really overwhelmed or stressed out, or they have a little sort of, mini sort of stress attack, and that's the body whispering. And then they're like, okay. And then next minute it's a full blown panic attack, or they're, in a big state of, more of a depressive mindset. So I think it's about listening to the body's whispers before it screams,
absolutely,
because
man.
you're
You're
right.
bang
Often
on there.
people don't reach out until they're like, fuck, the body's screaming out. Now I need to do something. Thank you so much for your time, man. You've been an absolute legend. Love what you're doing, mate. Keep living the dream. Keep making a positive impact in the lives of dads. And I love seeing your posts, even just hanging with the kids. I just think, what a legend! What a
Yeah,
legend of a
thanks,
dad, and
man.
what an experience that those kids are growing up with. So kudos to you, man. You're doing a
Absolutely.
great job,
Yeah,
and
that's
you
right.
should be proud.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. One of my biggest things that I do what I do for is to help the next generation of kids, because becoming men is about my kids. They're becoming men themselves. And the example that I give them will give them the opportunity to grow and achieve what they want, and showing them that they can be whatever they want to be ultimately will help them grow up to be men, and then their kids. So like, I want to create a ripple effect through my coaching where I help not just the dads I work with, but their kids as well, and if I can do that with 100 families, I'll be more than happy.
Legend, mate. You're doing it. You're walking the walk, and you're talking the talk. So I have no doubt you'll serve 100 families, and then many more, mate.